Hi guys, welcome to this honesty channel towards professional wrestling. Yes, you, the viewer at home. Thank you ever so much for tuning in and supporting my product. And 29 of you, yes, 29 of you have made that effort to hit that subscribe button and hit that bell icon so you'll be notified anytime when I do any videos for your viewing pleasure. Now, I just want to say to every one of you guys is that I'm trying to not do late night reviews straight after like a Raw or Dynamite and everything like that. It's nothing against you guys. It's just that I'm trying to get my sleep pattern for my job, because obviously this week is a bit hit and miss towards obviously giving you my thoughts towards professional wrestling. Now, I'm hoping to fit in SmackDown review some point, maybe Saturday or Sunday, because quite honestly, and about it, it's going to be hard work. It's going to be hard work for me to fit in SmackDown at some point this duration of this weekend. I'm hoping to give you it straight after SmackDown, maybe. I don't know, because quite honestly, I'm looking at my rotor and it's like, how am I going to fit this in? It's the same thing with Dynamite. I can't fit it in as such as a time schedule, But the only way you're going to find out when I do it is click that subscribe button. Hit that bell icon and notify all so you can get all my notifications. All my notifications to you guys so you know when I've uploaded it. I'm glad 29 of you have joined the open mic night family. Because end of the day, I enjoy talking about professional wrestling, as you can tell, and I'm trying to fit it all around my work career for you guys, and my family life as well. So I hope you understand that, because that's the end of the day. That's what I've got to do, and my God, I've got to do it. But obviously, we're going to be talking about Monday Night Raw. Now, when I looked at Monday Night Raw being built, I thought, here we go. We're going to have a drizzling shits episode, or we're going to have a good episode. And I want to actually say this: we actually had an absolute shocking episode, and I'll get onto the shocking bits very, very soon. Now, when we literally look at the kickoff of the show between John Cena coming out, cutting his promo, but counting down his last appearances, and he's going to literally, he's taking on this person, right? Since he's had his title reign, and you knew full well he was technically aiming towards CM Punk when he came out. Obviously, CM Punk did, but I would have done a far better twist to the story. With the likes of John Cena being champion and what happened at Money in the Bank with the likes of Ron Killings hitting him with the belt, I wouldn't mind the likes of R. Killings to come out and do the face-to-face bit with John Cena. You says you may have taken R-Truth, but you have not taken on Ron Killings, and doing the bit where he cut his hair and everything in front of him whilst laying him out, but then cutting out the hair and then throwing the braids in his face. That would have been so much more impactful, even though, which I'll get onto in a bit, with the R-Truth bit that he did in that show was very impactful, very meaningful, and I'm all for all this. The way they're doing Ron Killings' character. You've killed off R-Truth, which is good because I like this entity that we can keep him fresh and interesting, even though it wasn't a work that WWE did to R-Truth and treated him like shit, release him out of the blue, and then he tweets it, and then, like he says, it was you guys that brought me back, which I'm glad. I'm glad we made an impact as wrestling fans, because at the end of the day, we're the one that pays the bills for the WWE. We contribute by merchandise and everything like that. It proves how much a guy over 50 can stay relevant, He'll be in the Hall of Fame. Hopefully he'll be in the Hall of Fame, not this year or within the next year or so. And I'm hoping he is in the WWE Hall of Fame because he deserves that accolade, because he's been the yes man for the WWE. But this is the way he's come in, the way he's made an impact on the wrestling world and the way they've actually turned him as a heel, which is even more fantastic. And I'm glad they've actually done this to prove a point. I know they messed up big time, but they're trying to sweeten the fans, sweeten the blow that people will not realise how much WWE effed up completely, releasing this guy out of nowhere, and I'm glad he's getting his money's worth, no matter how long his extension is, or is he doing the rest of his contract, etc. like that, to honour that in the full pay sort of thing. And the way we literally start, I'm just going to say this, right? CM Punk, stop being so much of a face. It's really doing my head in. But are we going to get a heel turn if CM Punk takes the belt off John Cena and Night of Champions in Saudi Arabia? I tell you what, that would make a massive impact because they've actually done a title change abroad. Last time I think they did that was AJ Styles and Jinder Mahal in London at the O2. I'm just hoping they literally do that, but I personally would have loved this match to be at SummerSlam due to the history between John Cena or the likes of Money in the Bank instead of the tag team match we had. Because it would have been an anniversary of CM Punk walking out of the company. It would have been, or SummerSlam, that was at Money in the Bank. Then SummerSlam, champion versus, technically it was champion versus champion, wasn't it? And CM Punk beat John Cena there. It would have been an ideal thing, even though I don't like the OG wrestlers that have been around a while, are the only ones that's taken on John Cena. That's just me being honest. I'm really hoping still that we're going to get John Cena versus Logan Paul at SummerSlam. Because it will make more perfect sense, because obviously what was teased between the tag team match. Then obviously we had that promo war between him and John Cena. CM Punk and John Cena. Then we actually had the likes of Seth Rollins teasing towards cashing in his Money in the Bank. I personally would have done that perfectly, don't get me wrong. That was actually a good segment. It would have been even more better if he teased it towards coming out towards Gunther and main event Jey Uso that later on in the show as well. Because then you don't know who he's going to cash it in on. Because it's Captain obviously wants to cash it in. Sod's Law, if CM Punk wins this title, if this actually happens, which I think it may do, that I feel like what we're going to actually get is probably CM Punk win the title, Night Champions, then Seth Rollins cashes in and Night Champions. If that actually happens, that'll be an interesting aspect towards the storylines with John Cena being the title, leading to his last appearance. And is the way they're actually saying that the title is the one that makes people power hungry, etc., 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 have a massive ego because they've got the title, and obviously CM Punk is the one that wants that alter ego when technically he doesn't need a title. He's one of those wrestlers this day and age in 2025 I can actually say is a rare breed to literally, even though he's an OG of professional wrestling, I feel like he has been around the business a while. He doesn't need the title, but if this is the way you are actually going to turn John Cena face and take away that power comic book character, that take the power away from that villain, is the title, which is corny, but it works in a lot of favors. But all I can say, it was a good segment, don't get me wrong, but come on. CM Punk, really, I want the heel version of CM Punk. I'm sick of him being a baby face now. It's ran its course, and I'm hoping if he gets the title, he becomes that heel gimmick. But it's annoying when he's quoted the Summer of Punk. You've already done this in 2011. You've done this in when he quoted this last week. He's already done that in 2011. He's done it in Ring of Honor in 2005. Was it 04 as well, or was it 05? You tell me in the comments down below, please do. Because obviously I know a lot of people do watch now and again. But the thing is, your opening match of the card, believe it or not, lo and behold, Chad Gable versus AJ Styles. Now, I want to say this. I was okay with this match, don't get me wrong. It's one thing I don't get. right? I don't know what you're actually doing with Chad Gable. I really don't. Even though he's got an alter ego, as we know full well, a Mario Grande, wrestling fans can spot that a mile off. You're playing as thick, you know, absolutely making us look complete thick. But you look at the way this is done, and I'm like, okay, fair enough. It is what it is. It was actually a good match. AJ Styles defeated Chad Gable. Okay, now he's had his moment of fame being a main eventer at Worlds Collide. I feel like this is probably the decline again, once again with Chad Gable focusing on the likes of AJ Styles, even though people don't realise he's been around for a while now. Then we had the fatal four-way for the women's first round match in the Queen of the Ring. This is one thing that really confused me. What format were they going to go for? Were they going to do triple threats? Were they going to do singles? Were they doing this? Were they doing this? In the short space of time they've made it a fatal four-way between, obviously, Rhea Ripley, Kairi Sane, Roxanne Perez, and Liv Morgan. Now, I just want to say this to you guys. I want to say it was actually a solid, decent match between the four women. You know, I'm glad the four women are actually having their moment of fame. And I'm really surprised they went with Roxanne Perez. I really was when she actually won that one. You know, you dumbfounded me there. Job well done. You know, and it's the entity. Sorry about that, guys. I'm losing my voice a bit. Allergies. That I look at this and I'm literally seeing the rivalry between obviously Liv Morgan and Riv. That could have been set in stone between the likes of rivalry between Liv Morgan and Roxanne Perez, because obviously now Roxanne Perez is in the, how you put it, she's in the clubhouse with the likes of Judgment Day, and I'm thinking, then it's just one of those things, guys. It really is. And when you look at the promo that we actually got, we got that promo after that match. We actually, because women are in the spotlight, you know, because obviously going in towards Evolution, that Becky's come out bragging about that she's got her belt and everything like that, you know, the stereotypical sort of thing. And then obviously she's calling out Lyra Valkyrie. I can never pronounce her name, I do apologise. Calling her out, she was coming out, then Bayley just jumps the barricade and then attacks her. Okay, this makes sense, don't get me wrong, but are you teasing towards a triple threat match between these women? Otherwise it will make sense. But you don't need Lyra if she's literally giving Bayley the upper hand by throwing Becky back in the ring. Now, I wouldn't mind it because if you are setting up Bayley versus Becky, I do not want that match. I want a three-way match between these three women. I really want it because it's given golden. Are you going to give us a SummerSlam? Are you going to give it as Night as Champions? Are you going to give it as Evolution? Because it would have made perfect sense if Lyra did a beatdown as well onto Becky instead of throwing to Bayley and going, nah, Bayley can deal with it. Because it makes no sense throwing her back in the ring, because it would have made more sense if Lyra did the beatdown on Becky as well, because they are drawing 1-1. You know, you need to settle the score between them two. But if you're doing this as a fatal three-way, I keep saying fatal, I do apologise. Triple threat three-way match. If you're doing it like that between these participants, it makes sense to do it. But you're not doing that way because it looks like you're focused on Lyra going, I've done my bit, I'm off. You know, that's what sucked. Really, really sucked about that segment. You know, you had a golden opportunity to set up. You more than likely are set a three-way, but you could have done so much more with it, even though it was a good sort of segment, because no one was expecting Bayley to come back, which I'm glad. You know, but it feels like the OGs are getting all the spotlight more than the young talent, even though the likes of Lyra has had two clinical matches with Becky. Won one, lost one. You know, in recent times, obviously. I'm not calling about the NXT run. But it just really, really frustrates me. Then all of a sudden, out of the blue, we literally got R-Truth come out. You know, shooting his stuff. You know, I'm glad what he did. You know, I've already mentioned about cutting hair. You know, that's literally a shocking moment. Raw has been missing shocking moments for numerous of years now, and that's going to be one of the best shocking moments we've seen in recent times. Him cutting his own hair off. You know, he's cutting out the truth. You know, and that is good. That's good TV, good publicity. You get people talking about your product. You know, he's already got the fans in his hands, and this is where he can capitalize on that. You know, if they give him free reign on the mic, like it seems like he's got that sort of free reign on the mic, because he's literally saying the truth will set you free. I've not heard him say that in years. You know, and this is the entity that we've got now in the likes of WWE. This is what we should be getting week in, week out, right? I wouldn't mind him, no bullshit to you, being the voice of the voiceless. You know, I know CM Punk was, you know, he states he was the voice of the voiceless, right? You know how much you're bigging up Ron Killings. It's mad to think you've got the likes of CM Punk saying Ron Killings and saying Cody Rhodes is the best we've got. I forgot to mention this earlier on. What the fuck was that all about? You know, there's far superior than better than Cody Rhodes on that roster. You know, even though I do respect Cody Rhodes, don't get that the wrong end of the stick. But what I'm saying to you guys is, with this segment was gold. The only talking point I can actually say from this episode. You know, but you look at the way it was just picture perfectly done. Then we had the Fatal 4-Way, Sami Zayn, Penta, Dominic Mysterio, and Braun Breaker. I look at this match, I thought, okay, it is what it is. It was actually a good match, don't get me wrong. Sami Zayn got the victory on this one. This was another quite of a shocker moment that he advances in this tournament. But I just want to point one thing out with the likes of R-Truth. Are they sort of doing little red herrings because R-Truth's coming out all in black, Sami Zayn's coming out all in black, and they're teasing towards Karrion Kross coming back as their leader? Now, that would have been an interesting aspect to actually have that, because Karrion Kross has been hounding Sami Zayn for a while, but he's never handed R-Truth, but Truth could be the leader. Because these little red herrings sort of thing going towards that. But it was actually a really good second to last main event, I think it was. I'm losing track on this show, guys. I do apologise. Then Nikki Bella returns. Yuck. Was not a fan of it. Not a fan of it. Do not bring her back. Do not tease towards Liv Morgan and Nikki Bella at Evolution. This is the only best bit was the comebacks that Liv Morgan literally came back saying, because you're jealous because I've got a title, trying to make the tag team division titles relevant. Okay, it is what it is. But when you say she's jealous because she's got a man, that was funny. I did like that. That was a bit pretty much a low blow in itself, but it was quite funny indeed. But overall, was a shit segment. You know, it literally made no fucking sense whatsoever bringing Nikki Bella back. Oh, you know how much I can't stand her. But then we actually had the main event of the night. Now, I just want to say this was actually a solid match between main event Jey Uso and Gunther. Gunther got his second world title. Now, I felt like this was far superior, better than what they actually had at WrestleMania. Honestly. Now, when I look at this, now what are they actually going to do with Gunther as world champion? Who's going to be the first title defense he's going to have? Weird as it seems, I've got no Scooby. It's the same with main event Jey Uso. You've got no idea what they're going to do with him. I knew it was going to be a short reign, but we knew it was going to be a short reign with the likes of main event Jey Uso having that sort of title. But I just want to point this out. This was actually quite a stacked, decent show. You know, they've improved what we've been lacking since WrestleMania. You know, you've had shocking moments, you've had abysmal moments, you've had talking points, you know, and it's mad to think when you look at the bigger spectrum, this show was done far better than recent Monday Night Raws, you know, and I'm hoping going forward, I feel like TKO have now realised where they're technically going wrong, you might want to say. That's a bold statement, I know, but they need to improve their product if they're going to make these sales, make the money back they're losing rapidly. You know, but don't charge the earth, guys, to the fans. I keep saying this is where I draw a line, but I thought that was actually a very stacked overall show. No, just say the build towards... This is one thing I don't get. We know the Saudi shows... likes of Nights of Champions are just cash grabs for WWE. But we may, because they spend so much money to get them over there, fair enough. They could easily wipe out the debt that TKO's in just to put one show on, you know. But they charge so cheap for tickets. I've seen how cheap tickets are for Night of Champions. I know you need plain fare and all that lot, but I'm just saying that it's far cheaper than what a PLE or a Raw is. It's just embarrassing just to witness that. I know that's going into the business side of things. I hate quoting business myself, but they've upped their game this time. They've actually made shocking moments that is unbelievable, that I thought I'd witness. The likes of Ron Killings cutting his own hair. It's just insane. Absolutely insane. I couldn't believe my own eyes. That proves how much dedication he is to the WWE fans, let alone the WWE themselves. And for them to release him, and then he comes back and does this, I'm really, really interested to see where this dynamic is going to go. This shift with Ron Killings. See which way he's going to go. But anyway, that's my thoughts and opinions. Tell me your thoughts down below, please do. And thank you ever so much for the 29 of you guys hitting that subscribe button, hitting that bell icon. So anytime I want to do any videos for you guys right here on this very platform. Until next time, catch you guys later.